Alright, ladies and gents, welcome back. This time it is the Tier 1 Grand Finals for the Rocket League Ireland Spring 2020 2v2 tournament. My name is Cardinal. It's still myself and NuaLaoch, and we're going to be bringing you through the Tier 1 final, which is a best of 7. And Alex, I hope you're as excited for this one as I am.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one a lot. Looking for some really high-level Rocket League to come out of these players. You know, I mean, we saw some really good play coming out of the Ladaroos in the last series, and we're basically just expecting that, but a little bit faster, a little bit more accurate with all your shots, a little bit more skill coming through in all these 1v1s. And whatever happens, it should be a hell of a series.
It should indeed. And Alex, for our wonderful viewers at home, would you be able to run us through the players that we're going to see kick it off here in game number 1?
Absolutely. We have Storybud, which is Mug, a man who probably doesn't need introduction for anyone who's been hanging around the Irish Rocket League scene for a while, teamed up with Rob. And then over on the other side, we have Team Padzer, which is shockingly made up of Pad and Zer, who is Adzer, who's dropped a couple of letters.
Initial game number 1. Ooh, that's gonna actually go in. A little bit of a musty flick there, but Zer is gonna send it in. I'm not actually sure if Rob was expecting that one. It was kind of delayed, but got the touch anyway and sends it in. First goal, just like the Tier 2 finals, is gonna come very early on in game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's that little bit of extra skill that we were expecting out of these players in the 1v1s, you know, like the flick. And even then, Rob nearly managed to get to that one and get the save. As the control from these players over the ball is just that little bit better than we might have expected in the Tier 2 finals, and it's coming out already in this game 1.
It is indeed 1-0 up in favour of Padzer for now. Ball is dangerously close to the blue goal line. Adzer's going to get another touch, but Muggs will send it wide. Not a fantastic clearance though, and the pressure is still piling on, and Adzer could have maybe went for that one. I don't think he was realising it was going to drop down so low, but Mug will finally get a good clearance and relieve some of that pressure. Ball safely in the grasps of the orange side now. Mug will collect it on the sidewall and send it up and over. Rob is in a position to go for this one, but it looks like Mug decides he wants to go for the shot himself, and Adzer will get the clearance. It's very, very back and forth after that initial opening goal, but neither of these two teams have had a proper chance on target since.
Yeah, absolutely not. It looked like Storybud were struggling a little bit to adjust to the pace of the game, as Padzer were the ones with all of the pressure, but Storybud finally getting a little bit of pressure there with themselves and showing that they can be dangerous under the ball too. Need to find that first goal though if they want to actually compete.
And there it is. Just as you say, the caster curse yet again. Rob sends it in, and it was all down to the demo from Mug. Pad then also getting caught on the wall. A little bit of a bump there will allow them to tap that one in.
Mug making an absolute nuisance of himself in front of the goal there, and that was, as you say, completely what set up Rob there. It was an easy finish for Rob at the end of that one, and that's see if the physical play is kind of what continues to come out from the side of Storybud here, if that's how they choose to try and make their mark in this series.
Yeah, of course, and when the skill level is so high and the mechanical skill of all these players, you know, is so close in terms of skill amongst each other, it is really those physical bumps and the kind of mind games that separate out a good team from a great team, you know, and I think that's going to be a huge component, especially in 2v2, where you have that bit of extra room, you have that little bit more breathing space to play with on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 2v2, you just need to be so quick on the ball. Mug has a chance here to see how he does in 1v1. Not quite able to finish that one off. It was a good effort, and there was nowhere to put the ball except over into the side corner. So the main thing was that they delayed long enough to actually get back there and be able to defend a counter-attack. So well played by Mug in that 1v1, even if he didn't get the goal.
Of course, Rob will pick it up and send it back to his teammate. A great pass. Shot is going to go up and maybe drop down. It will indeed. And the touch just under the crossbar, but can't sneak it in. Would have been a fantastic play, but the ball still not out of harm's way yet, as Adzer will pick it up in the midfield, not supported by his teammate, but Ad will be there to collect it. The bump in the net. This is going to go in. If he gets the next bump, it will. That's the second goal for Padzer, and a beautiful way to do it.
Yeah, really well done by Zer here. Just doing to Mug what Mug had done to them earlier, and just making sure that there was no chance Mug was ever going to get to the ball. As I say that, Mug nearly managed to do that from the inside of the goal, so nearly managed to get there, but well played by Padzer and good awareness of where everyone was on the pitch to make that one happen.
Yeah, it would have been something special to recover from that bump and also get the clearance as well, but the pressure still mounting for the side of Storybud. Mug and Rob now deep within their own territory. Rob has a chance here now. He's got a little bit of breathing room to play with. He's gonna send that one all the way downfield. Good touch from Pat, and an even better follow-up as he also wins the 50. Now Mug will collect it, no boost. picked up. Padzer need to be careful. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Soft goal.
Very, very soft goal.
I'm not even sure what happened here, to be honest. It was just a poor touch by Mug in the middle of the pitch. Pad actually had no boost for a lot of that play, so I think maybe they were feeling safe because they knew the Pad wasn't going to be there to follow up, so they had a bit of time to play with. Rob was off getting boost somewhere in the corner when Mug hit it into the middle of the pitch. So kind of just maybe not respecting their opponents enough there and allowing a soft goal to go in. We'll put them 2 goals down in this game 1.
Yeah, a little bit of an oversight, even though they didn't have too much boost to play with. All it takes is for one powerful clearance, and you don't have that third man back that you can rely on to be there for an easy save like that. You know, if you're pushed up, there really is no last line of defense. So that's a clear example of how you have to adjust your playstyle when you're in these 2v2s. And we see it again. Adzer sends it in 4-1, just like that, and a lovely touch from the orange side.
Yeah, Rob was trying to shadow Pad there, you know, just make sure that he couldn't get past him easily and give Mug time to recover. But the thing about shadowing is it only works against one player, and as soon as the second player got added into the mix there and Zer came along to support Pad, it was a really well worked goal and there was absolutely nothing Rob could do about it.
Indeed, that is exactly it. It's a 4-1 scoreline. For anyone watching at home, this is a best of 7 series, so 5 is the magic number that you're going to be looking for. We have quite a bit of Rocket League ahead of us here tonight, and as far as I know, Alex, the winner of this actually wins €40. So it's not, you know, just bragging rights. There is some monetary gain to be had here today, so both of these teams are going to be looking to be the victor tonight.
Unfortunately going to be hard pressed to spend that in the middle of quarantine, but you know, you can save it. You could do something interesting with it in the future. Zer has a good chance there and went for the bump under the ball as well. It was a good effort, but it was well defended by Robin Mug this time around.
I'd also like to correct myself, because apparently Twitch chat has recognised that can't count, and to win a best of 7 you actually only have to win 4 games, believe it or not. It isn't 5, although Pat has just scored the 5th goal, so who knows.
Yeah, you were just predicting them getting to 5 on the score. 5 is the magic number in this game. He wasn't wrong, Twitch chat, he was just 30 seconds ahead of himself.
I mean, I'll go with it. It's 5-1 with 20 seconds left. You've got to imagine Padzer are going to take this game number 1 here in the 2v2 grand final.
Yeah.
They're just trying to run down that clock. Always the most frustrating to play against when you are behind and you do have a chance of making that comeback, but I think at this point Storybud are just going to try and reset mentally for game 2 and hopefully get off to a better start. A couple of unfortunate goals, but also some fantastic goals from I think
Padzer
side.
Yeah, even those unfortunate goals, as Pad has left the match. Even those unfortunate goals, I think, were a little bit the result of Storybud being slightly behind the pace of the game compared to Padzer, you know. Padzer just had that edge in terms of speed a lot of the time in the middle of the pitch. They were getting to those balls first, and it meant that they got much more sustained pressure. I think 5-1, the 5-1 scoreline kind of reflects that. That was kind of the amount of pressure that was coming out from Padzer compared to Storybud. Was just that little bit extra all the time. They were always a little bit more. They spent a little bit more time in front of the opponent's goal, and were able to capitalize on it with, you know, significantly more shots on target as well. 11 shots on target versus 5 for Storybud kind of tells the story of this game pretty effectively by itself.
Yeah, it was a little bit one-sided, all things considered, but there was definitely some great showing from Storybud regardless of the final scoreline. You know, it'd be tough to convince someone who didn't watch the game that it was closer than a 5-1 victory suggests, but there was definitely some signs of life from Rob and Mug, and it could just be a case that they're going to take a little bit while longer to settle into this one, and it could play out in their favour. You know, they have a best of 7 series ahead of them. They do have that extra game or two to be able to settle in and be able to say, look, it's not like a best of 5 where we lose one game and then we're already thinking about potentially getting 3-0'd. They can settle in and just forget about game number 1 and just reset and start afresh.
Yeah, a best of 7, I mean, it's a long series, you know, and there is, as you say, plenty of time to kind of settle into the series, plenty of time to kind of turn it around. Even going 2 games down is not the end of the world in this best of 7 at all, you know. You only really have to start worrying once you actually get to that match point, because before that you've plenty of time to make the comeback.
Yeah, and that's always the best way to think about it, you know, take every game as it comes, and if you eventually come out the victor, you know, that's great, but don't let it get into your head and start thinking 2 and 3 games forward when you really should be focusing on the match at hand. And I think that's you know what these players are going to be doing. They're experienced enough to know this. And oh, almost, it could quite go in. It's gonna go in, but no, Pad keeps it out somehow. And now the attack is on. That is going to be down on target as well, but Robes has to make a last ditch save. Mug also carrying it downfield just to let his teammate collect a bit of boost, and it does calm down, but for a while there it could have gone either way. Fantastic aggression from both sides already, and oh, Rob has to make another save. Mug picks it up just in his own box and sends it back down the field, collected by the blue side. They have it under control. Boost also picked up there by Mug, so the orange side could be potentially starved out of this one a little bit, but they have relieved the pressure. Bump is also going to cause some problems. Is he going to go over? No, Pat is there. This is very, very back and forth play here. Both teams gunning for that opening goal.
Storybud looking to make a statement in this game too. You know, they do not want to go down without a fight in this series, and they're applying much more pressure already at the start of this game than they managed to in game number 1, and looking a lot more threatening in front of that goal.
The brakes have been applied a little bit as both teams now start to calm down. No back and forth action as of yet, but Rob will send it towards the net. Adzer has to get up to that one. A great touch to keep it out of harm's way, and Pat is there to collect it. Gonna dash now in front to net, and the bumps again cause another goal to go in. This time it's going to be Storybud edging it out in front.
Yeah, it was kind of just Adzer getting a little bit confused. I think he trusted Pad to win that 1v1 and get the 50 and get the ball clear. So caught out a little bit by the ball bouncing into the middle in front of his goal, but really quick reactions by Rob to capitalise on that one, and managed to get the goal pretty effectively. And being 1-0 up is a good look for Storybud if they want to actually end the series. Make that 2-0 up.
He made that 2-0 up indeed. Just like that. Out of seemingly nothing. It didn't look like there was any chance, but a poor touch from Adzer. Robs is there straight away to capitalise on it. It's going to be a second goal, and this is a great start for Storybud. They weren't able to establish this kind of lead in game 1, but the question remains, are they going to be able to maintain it?
Definitely. We're going to have to see as well. You know, we saw in our Tier 2 finals how Let Us Win kind of crumbled a little bit when those early goals went in against them. So hopefully a little bit more mental fortitude coming out from the side of Padzer here. But I mean, a third goal going in straight away, they're not even giving me time to finish making the point about, you know, how they need to just calm the bleed and slow it down a little bit and stop more goals from going in, as Rob fires home for a hat-trick already in this game.
Yeah, this is looking like a different team to the Storybud that we saw in game number 1. 3-0 up, and we're not even halfway through the second match. Mug is also going to collect this one now again. Looking just so much crisper, and they've turned up the pace of the play to 11. 3-0 on the scoreboard, reflecting that as well. And they've had some great offense, Alex, but they've also had some brilliant defense as well. We've seen them make some brilliant clearances, and it's not for lack of trying from Padzer. They've had some great shots on target.
Yeah, it was funny that you said that as well, that, you know, they're turning it up to 11, because as you said that, I was about to mention that they've already had 11 shots on target this game. Storybud only got 5 shots on target in the previous game, and 2.5 minutes into this one, they've already, you know, had 11 chances on goal, which kind of just shows, you know, as you say, they're just playing like a different team. They're much more aggressive, much more in the face of Padzer, and actually pressuring them much, much harder in defence.
Just over 2 minutes remaining here in game number 2. If Storybud can keep this form up, they will even the scoreline 1-1 in this best of 7. Mug might actually carry it all the way in, but again, for a second time in this match, Pad has kept it out. Ball is going to go back down into the blue half. Jockeying for possession now on the sidewall. It's going to be Mug and Rob in a tricky situation, but that's going to bounce down in front of net. Mug is there to send it downfield, picks the ball up, and he's just going to stall for time. Has he also got that boost? I think he did just before he got demoed. That's going to leave Adzer in a tough position, but Pad will be there to collect, and this might actually be a chance for them. The flip reset is there, but again, another save from Storybud. They just cannot seem to get a break here, and it's going to roll in for a 4th goal. A quick counter-attack, and it's 4-0.
Oof, I think that's the goal that's going to break the back of this game, number 2, and give the win Storybud. You know, that's in some ways kind of a 2-goal swing. First of all, a great save by Mug, stopping the goal from Padzer, and then just the immediate counter-attack leading to goal at the other end means that instead of 3-1, we're looking at 4-0, and looking at Storybud being in a really commanding position to take this game down. And it doesn't look like Padzer have an answer to them in this game, number 2, at all. As another goal goes in, it's just unrelenting pressure. Padzer really need to figure out what went wrong in this game versus game 1. to me, it looks a little bit like Storyboard actually just picked up the pace, and Padzer just haven't had the defensive answers that they had in game number 1. They haven't been rotating as effectively back. We saw a little bit of a double commit earlier that led to just before one of those goals. And it's just kind of falling apart a little bit defensively. And it means that Padzer can't kind of have that offensive pressure, and they don't have that strong platform to attack from that they had in game number 1. And you know, I'm half ignoring these goals at this point because there's just so many of them, and it's weak defense coming through from the side of Padzer more than anything.
Yeah, I think I agree in that the side of Padzer have kind of checked out of this one. They don't really look like I don't want to say they're not trying, but I think they maybe just kind of discussing amongst themselves how they are going to approach game number 3. I don't think this is in a winnable state for them now. And it is just a case of, you know, having a bit of fun, just kind of resetting. They realize that, you know, you're down 6 goals with only 45 seconds left. There's not there's not too much you can do about those kind of ones. A 7th goal will go in, and at this point now, I'd be thinking about game number 3, and I'd be after forgetting about this.
It was a pretty nice goal. I don't think that was exactly the final touch that he wanted to get on the ball, but it worked out, and it looked pretty nice as well.
I mean, if it goes in.
If it goes in, it goes in. Yeah, I think just the defensive rotations need to get better for Padzer again. You know, they had them in game number 1, but game number 2, the pace was up by Storybud, and they've completely broken apart any kind of defensive attempts that Padzer tried to put up. Even that save was off the back of a double commit, and that means that there's going to be no chance to relieve pressure again. But as you say, you know, I think mentally checked out of this game are Padzer, and at this point it's just letting Storybud take a shot and hope that you can save a couple of them. I don't know, maybe if Storyblood stops scoring, we can actually get to game number 3 at some point. That'd be nice. Maybe. And I hope the side of Padzer have some very strong mentalities, because no matter what way you're thinking, losing a game 8+ goals to 0 never feels good. So hopefully they can kind of just reset mentally and not let this get to them. You know, sometimes these things happen, and there's still plenty more games to go, but what you don't want to see is them let this get to them and then they go into game number 3 and they're already on the back foot. Yeah, it's funny, we were talking in game 1 about, you know, Storybud can't get down, it's a 7-game series, even if you go down 1 or 2 games, it's not the end of the world, and they've just immediately flipped it on their head. You know, now we're talking about how Padzer can't let this get into their heads. You know, it's only 1 or 2 games, if you go down it's fine. You know, it's just a huge shift from game number 1 here, and it almost looks like the team's reversed. You know, the team that was playing with pace, that was having all the offensive pressure and that was getting the shots on target and the goals, was Padzer in game number 1. And game number 2, I mean, it was 21 shots to 4. You know, we talked about it in game 1, how Padzer had doubled the shots of Storybud, and that was a sign of their pressure, and it's the complete opposite here in game number 2. Yeah, and to be fair to Padzer, they did have some, you know, quite impressive shots on target in those 4 shots that they had, but it was just a case of Storybud having the plot armor. You know, the ball would not go in the goal, and no matter how much they tried, they just couldn't seem to crack that defense. Storybud, on the other hand, looking like a totally different team, and they might even keep that up here going into game number 3. Yeah, we'll see which team manages to come out swinging. I mean, I don't know which team is going to win game number 3, and I don't know which team is going to win the series, but based on what's happened so far, it's going to happen by huge goal margins, whichever way it goes. Oh, Pad with a beautiful save to start things off, and they've kept it out, but they haven't relieved the pressure. The pass not quite going to come across, and Mug doesn't want to commit to that one. Rob will chase it down in the midfield. The demo coming through as well. This is spelling disaster for Padzer as the ball is bouncing dangerously in front of net. Rob up for it again to keep it well in the orange half, and he's also going to get the second touch. Both players there to save that one. No sign of the pressure relieving for now, as a little bit of a fake challenge from Mug will allow him to collect it in the midfield. Another demo as well, and now Zer has to go for this, and he can't. He's trying to dodge the demo and allows Mug to get a free shot on net. The aggression here from Storybud is absolutely insane. Yeah, absolutely. I might say Mug's name on the scoreboard beside that goal, but that goal was all Rob. You know, he hunted down the opposing team there and made sure that there was absolutely no hope of either Pad or Adzer getting to save that one. This Storybud team, they're just playing with so much confidence. You know, they're not giving any room to breathe to the side of Padzer. And as another goal goes in off the kickoff, you know, I mean, it's a little bit soft, sure, but there's just so much aggression and just so much power coming out of this side of Storybud, and they're not giving any room at all for Padzer to play this game.
Yeah, it's such a momentum shift, you know, we don't actually see this too often where from game 1 to game 2 and 3 there's just a total swing between both teams, and honestly I hope Padzar at this point are able to get back into this one. You know, this is now 10 goals they've conceded without responding at all, and they haven't looked like the same team, they haven't been able to get the ball out of their own half, and when they have sent it downfield it is instantly collected by the Storybud side, and again we're going to see another goal go in. The rotations are just not there, and credit to Storybud, they haven't given any breathing room.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's really a lot of this is coming down to Storybud just making it very difficult for Padzar to clear the ball. Even when, you know, they shoot, even when they know that it's going to be saved, they're putting it in places where, you know, Padzar have no choice but to leave it somewhere where Storybud can actually follow up. And we saw it there on that last goal. It was, you know, mug shot. You know, he knew it was going to be saved, but the touch for Zer could literally only put it back in front of Rob, as Pad finally manages to get a goal. So there is still life in this game yet. And I have no idea where Mug got demoed, I see. So good physical play coming out of the side of Padzar as well. But, you know, need a couple more of those before I'm fully convinced that they're back in this series.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. And they need to keep that pressure up. They can't let the momentum swing back in favour of Story, but they have to rein it in a bit. And they might have another chance to do here now. Oh, the demo not quite going to land as Mug does go up for a pad, collects it, keeps it well in the blue half. The ball is dangerously in front of net, but Rob will send it wide. Up on the sidewall now, he has a chance to carry it downfield, but didn't quite get the touch he wanted on it. It's going to go under pad anyway, and now there's another challenge, but with 3-1, just over 3 minutes remaining, this game could still go either way, but it is absolutely paramount that Padzar do not concede another goal, especially with only about half the game remaining.
Yeah, and it's these 50s and saves in front of the goal again. They're just not being cleared effectively by Padzar, and it's putting them under a huge amount of pressure in their own half.
2 minutes 50 left on the clock. Padzar's going to tap it off the back wall, but Mug is there for the clearance. Now the counter attack is well and truly on. Big demo coming out here, as sometimes these counterattacks are a little bit too quickly and they're not accounting for the defender making his rotation back. There's been a lot of demos in this game so far, and the physical play has been the difference so far. 3-1. Padzar obviously coming back into this one as best they can, but they still have 2 goals to find. Let's not forget that. We're not looking at an even scoreboard for the time being. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. Again, more demos, more bumps. Pad is going to try and carry it downfield, but can't get it past Mug now. Zer is up and he's going to send it towards net, but Rob is there. It's a soft touch. No danger and no stress required. Rob will catch it, take it to the side. Padzar have to start thinking about scoring another goal with only 120 seconds left in this one.
Yeah. That's a dangerous double commit. That's not good. That's a pretty easy goal for Pad there, as Rob and Mug kind of maybe losing track of who they were meant to be bumping. Rob just completely takes Mug out of the play, and it was a point that I actually wanted to bring up here in that play. Is Rob's been kind of taking himself out of position looking for these demos a couple of times, and I think that is the space where Padzar have a chance to capitalise. Is if you can dodge those demos and Rob isn't careful, he's going to find himself out of position more and more, and that is leaving openings like the one we just saw for Padzar to score goals.
Yeah, now they definitely have a lifeline. They've got a chance to get back into this game. They've got plenty of time to score another goal. On top of that, 1 minute 35 remaining. Ball sent back down into the orange half. Does Adzar want to go for this one? He will. No commitment from the blue side, as Mug will try and collect it. Again, this is Storybud's game to lose. They have the advantage, and they've had the advantage for practically the entire game. It is a case of, is their defense strong enough, or will this onslaught from Padzar be enough to crack open another goal? Adzar gonna go for the flick, but it's a little bit too high. Now they have a chance. Pressure is on Mug with plenty of time to catch that on the goal line. He's gonna hold possession, collect the boost, sends it past Adzar, and now the counter attack is definitely on. Padzar has to go for that challenge. Adzar now sends it over to his teammate. 50-50 going in favour of the orange side with 51 seconds left. Alex, this is coming really down to the wire. Adzar and Pad have to make some sort of moves here with 45 seconds left.
Yeah, they're going to have to get another goal, and they're going to have to get it quickly. It's been just demo after demo. I think the players are almost ignoring the ball at times and just looking for other players to hit instead. But, you know, I think it's risky. Like, if you opt into that kind of game plan, if you're the side of Storybud, you risk losing control of the game, and you risk leaving chances for the game for goals. Because Adzar is just about going to get to that one off the wall. What a goal by Adzar. Did all the work to demo Rob and then get to that ball afterwards as well.
A beautiful display of mechanics to get that one in after getting the demo as well. Most of the time his job would be done to just find that demo and let his teammates set it up, but he sneaks it in somehow, and now we could potentially be looking at overtime. This is any man's game here. No kickoff goals available as of yet. Pad will collect it on the sidewall, picks up the boost as well. Is he going to bring this the whole way? Oh, the challenge is good though. Storybud managed to stop the bleeding for now. The ball going downfield. No chance of a shot as the bump also doesn't quite come through. Now Zer is going to bring it all the way into the blue half. Oh no, it's just going to go wide. Mug collects it on the sidewall. We're on 0 seconds. Are we going to be looking at overtime? We are indeed.
Oh, it's a good one. It's exciting. This game has been action from minute 1 so far, and I'm not entirely sure still how Pads are actually managed to pull it back, but we might get a quick goal in overtime. Looking which team can come out on top. Whichever team comes out on top here is going to be up in the series and feeling pretty good about the whole thing. Adzer is going to take it home. That was a quick goal in overtime.
That was a very, very quick goal in overtime. And I think, Alex, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this whole demo / bump game that has been going on since the very first kickoff kind of went against Storybud, all things considered, at the end. You know, they were coming out of position.
I completely agree with you. 100%. I think Rob especially was guilty of kind of putting himself into awkward positions just because he was looking for bumps and looking for demos that game. And that led to a couple of the goals. It didn't lead to all the goals for Padzer, but it definitely led to one of them very directly when Rob ended up bumping Mug because he was looking for a demo. And you know, that's what let Padzer back into this game. You're absolutely right. Storybud had a control on this game, and all they needed to do was play it a little bit more slow, play it a little bit controlled. But their bloodlust kind of got away from them a little bit there, and instead it's Padzer who've gone up in this series.
They have indeed. It's 2-1. Again, for anybody tuning in at home, this is a best of 7, and believe it or not, you do only have to win 4 games to be crowned the Tier 1 2v2 champions here for RLI Spring. Will Padzer be able to keep up this form now with a little bit of renewed energy after winning that overtime comeback? And it was a battle of attrition, Alex. They had to really come back and fight for every single goal they got. So both teams were deserving of that victory, but Padzer were the ones able to edge it out. And as I say it, Mug will be the first to find a goal in game number 4.
Yeah, and you were talking about a battle of attrition, and that goal was a battle of attrition in and of itself. It was just players throwing themselves at the ball in front of the line with the ball barely moving. But Mug manages to sneak that one in the end, and it doesn't look like we're getting any signs of a slowdown from the last game in terms of just the physicality of how these teams are looking to play. Still looking for bumps, still looking for demos, and still looking to just get the ball in because there's nobody left on the other team to save it.
1-0. Storybud have gotten themselves out in front yet again in game number 4. Still early days yet, plenty more goals and saves alike to come, I would imagine, as Rob will send it into the midfield, collected by Pad, and now Adzer's up for this one, not quite on target, but plenty of defense back as well. Ball will get sent all the way back down into the orange half, and a little bit of a whiff there from Adzer, it looked like, on the back wall. Mug is going to go up for this one, keep it deep in orange territory, and now Rob has a great shot on target. Pad had to pre-jump it, and he couldn't guess correctly. That's a second goal early on for the side of Storybud.
Yeah, good speed by Mug in the middle of the pitch there just to beat Adzer to that ball, even though Adzer was the one coming at it with a lot of boost and coming from the goal line. I think everyone basically just kind of ran out of boost towards the end of that play, and the advantage tends to go to the attacking team when that happens, as Rob nearly puts the kickoff goal in. But if you're the team in control of the ball and the defending team has completely lost all their boost, it's really hard for them to actually get there and make any saves. So it was well played by Storybud to capitalise that on the last goal.
Yeah, once you are out of boost, your options are just so severely reduced. You know, you're almost waiting for the attacking side to make a mistake for you to get a little bit of boost back and maybe relieve some of that pressure, but it never came. And against this quality of opposition, the mistakes are few and far between.
Chance for Adzer here to try and carry this one forward. Not quite able to win out on the 1v1 though, so at least looking for a different way to play the game, you know, not just opting into this full aggression bump play style, actually trying to just play it slow, control the ball and win out on 1v1. So we'll see if the game actually starts to shift a little bit in that direction, or if everyone's going to keep bumping each other. I think they're going to keep trying to bump each other.
I think so too. I think so too, as we see double demo from Pad come out, and there's the first goal for Padzer.
Yeah. It was just wildly optimistic. I was like, maybe these teams will start playing with their brains. Maybe, right? They'll slow down, like try and look for some, more nuanced attacks. Nah. Pad's just going to kill two people in one quick dive and set up Adzer for an easy goal there. It was really, really well played by Pad. I mean, look, that's the strength of the demos and of the bumps. If you can take the other two players out of the game, then there's just nobody left to save the ball and you get to score for free.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best offense, If there's no goalkeeper to save it, I mean, then it's all on you if you miss.
Offense is a good offense. I mean,
yeah, I couldn't agree more. And now, Storybud still with the 1-goal advantage, but for now, Padzer have proven to themselves that they can score here in game number 4. They still do need to find one more, and they also have to maintain that defense on top of it. Adzer has to go for the half-lip save. It wasn't quite on target anyway. No pressure on Adzer. Ball getting sent across now. Pad will get it deep into the Storybud half. Ball is going to dance down in front of net, but no, Adzer's only able to bounce it off the back wall straight down into midfield for a counter-attack, and this could be a very powerful one as it's... Oh my lord! Pad somehow keeps it out. Adzer's going to collect it, but the boost has to be very, very low for the orange side now. They have to be so efficient here. They have to get a good clearance, and it's going to get sent wide. Rob going to contest and jockey for this one as well, and a little bit of an overcommitment here. Ball not really in the danger zone, so they're going to get away with it with 1:37 left on the clock. Padzer have to have a response within the next 90 seconds just to bring this to overtime, and there's another demo, and it's going to go in.
It was really well done by Rob again. It's just the demos are what have been making the difference in these games so far. Adzer did everything he could to try and get away from Rob there, but unfortunately put himself into a position where he just couldn't escape. And Mo playing it slow in the middle of the pitch, just kind of controlling the ball, and you just give your teammate time to actually make those demos. It's such an important part of demo play that people forget about, is that if you're the one with the ball, Rob's just going to get a free goal here. But if you're the one with the ball, you need to make sure that you give your teammate time to go for that demo, and you can actually see if it's going to work. You can't rush, just attack and shoot, because if it goes wrong, then you leave yourself very vulnerable to a counter attack, because if you've just shot and your teammate is still looking for a demo somewhere, you've no one back defending. So it was well played by these teams so far around those demos a lot of the time.
Absolutely. With 1:20 left, this has been a big resurgence, but Padzer have found their second. They aren't out of the realm of possibility to come back with another 2 goals, but I think they need to potentially be looking at a kickoff, maybe a very quick goal here to capitalize on that momentum. But still, this is Storybud's game to lose. It will get sent down into their half. Corner boost will also be collected by Padzer.
As you say, it needs to be quick. And Padzer, I mean, they have the skill to do it. They might be able to actually get these goals in, and they're looking threatening at the moment, and they have all the boosts and all the options here, although a touch like that from Padzer won't make it easy.
Just under a minute remaining, still 2 goals to find from Padzer. They found victory in overtime in game number 3. Are they going to be able to get to overtime in game number 4? Coming right down to the wire. They still believe, judging by their playstyle, that they can make this happen. The bump in front of net is going to be good, but the shot is not on target. They have to get it up and they have to get it in, but Rob is there. Quick recovery to send it out. Pressure still mounting for the blue side, but Mug will eventually get a solid touch. 30 seconds left, and Pad is going to send it over, but Adzer's not there to attack that one. The ball is going to bounce in front of net, but there's no one there to challenge for it. And now with that boost collected, you've got to imagine Storybud are just going to stall it up, and that looks like exactly what they're doing. Just trying to keep it away from the Padzer side, maybe get another goal for the road, but with 8 seconds left, I don't imagine we're going to see 2 goals coming out here.
Not even going to see one. GG, well played by the side of Storybud and by Padzer there. It was a really good effort to try and actually come back in this game in the last 30 seconds. They're looking for the consolation goal here, but not going to find it. So Storybud actually just holding on this time. They didn't make the mistakes that they made in the last game. They didn't go over aggressive in the last couple of minutes and kind of put themselves in positions where Padzer had a chance to equalise the game. So nice to see both of these teams kind of learning as the series goes on.
At this point now, Alex, both teams are 2 for 2 in this best of 7. We are at bare minimum going to see 6 out of the 7 matches. And honestly, I couldn't pick a winner between 2 of these teams. They both had absolutely amazing games.
Yeah, for me so far, I think Storybud kind of have had the edge a little bit since game 2. Game 1, first game of a series, you know, it takes a little time to settle into it. In game 3, I really feel like Storybud had it and kind of just got a little bit cocky, kind of let it get away from themselves a little bit. But if Storybud cleaned themselves up a little bit, I think they're the team that have shown the higher ceiling so far in this series. So I'd look for them to take it home if they can keep that level of play up.
We'll have to wait and see how this one is going to play out. It's 2 for 2 as we get into the 5th match of this evening between Storybud and Padzer, the Rocket League Spring 2020 Tier 1 2v2 Grand Finals. That is quite a mouthful, but has someone had a bit of a disconnect? Oh no, yeah. Pad is having a bad time. Are we going to see any mercy rules coming out? No, it looks like he's back in. The demo is definitely not going to be mercy rules. Mug is going to put that one in. I'm not sure what's happened. They've asked him, is he good? But clearly not.
Yeah, made sure to put the ball in the goal before stopping to ask that question there to decide off story. But we'll have to see. Hopefully, if Pad's having any connectivity issues, they do get sorted out quickly. He looks like he's up and moving now anyway, so hopefully feeling better.
Yeah, he might have to get that car NCT'd because it wasn't working at the start of the match, but first goal will go the way of Storybud. Pressure still mounting, and honestly, I think apart from game number 1, the other victory we saw from Padzer was actually a comeback, and they really seem to love going down early on in these games and then coming back into them. So again, a good resurgence, an early goal to be found, and they've equaled it up.
They've just decided to start the comeback a little bit earlier this time. You know, it's stressful waiting for the last minute to try and score a few goals. So if you just like go down quickly and then equalise quickly, you're fine. But Rob's going to immediately fire back there. It's been basically 2 kickoff goals for the side of Storybud so far in this game. As the first one was kind of a result of a kickoff in the other half and Pad DC. But yeah, I mean, Storybud going up ahead again. And as you say, if there's one good thing that we know about Padzer is that they haven't been scared in this series so far when they're down a couple of goals. You know, they will keep fighting until the very end. So not necessarily the end of the world that they are down, as Pad is asking for a restart.
Yeah, that's I'm not quite sure what's happening here. It looks like there's some communication going on. Let's see if this is actually live. I'm not sure. Maybe they will have to get in touch with our wonderful admins just to confirm whether or not we'll be restarting. I will let everybody know watching at home as soon as I know myself. But for now, I would imagine that this game is continued to be live. I think, however, Padzer have just continued playing on.
Yeah. As we say, we'll get a ruling from the admins. In the meantime, it does look like Storybud have managed to find themselves another goal here, so it's going to be tough for Padzer to make the comeback even if they want to at this point.
Yeah, and this is going to be a little bit of a downer if this is gone live, because I think there's a potential that Padzer might have just assumed they were able to restart the game and have conceded now, you know, maybe 2 or 3 soft goals. They've made this very, very difficult for themselves if they decided to continue playing on. Pad is again out of there's something definitely going wrong, Alex. I haven't gotten any confirmation yet myself. I'm not quite sure, but he has to restart his router, and then the no problem quick message is possibly a little bit sarcastic if I do say so myself, but
there's a lot of emotion contained in those 2 words.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Adzer to find a goal here, 1v2. He's going to get demoed as well. I mean, I've been in this position in my ranked games in Rocket League so many times where your teammate leaves and then you just start getting demoed as if it wasn't bad enough, you know. Adzer, if he can find a goal here, I'd be very, very impressed, but at this point I'd imagine he is just going to try and not concede.
I think he's going to spend most of his time dodging Mug and Rob here, as they appear to just be leaving the wall behind and trying to demo him instead. Yeah, we're playing dodgeball now instead.
Yeah, this is not it, Chief. This is definitely not the way you want to see Game 5 of your grand final going. But I mean, look, these things do happen. It's unfortunate that the restart couldn't have been called a little bit earlier to get the match invalidated. But for now, it is 5-1. Let's see, we might even see a little bit of freestyling coming out here from the lads while they have some time to just mess around. No, they're just going to continue to try and kill Adzer.
But
yeah, there's not much analysis you can do about this.
Yeah, We can compliment Rob and Adzer managed to demo the double demo there. I mean, like, if nothing else, that's pretty rare. So exciting, and they've managed to do it again, twice in a row. I mean, someone clip that, because that might be the most impressive thing that's happened so far. It happens again. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, 5-1. We haven't seen any goals in quite a while. It's looking like a game of rugby rather than soccer at the moment, as the three lads are just...
I might call it MMA even more than rugby, to be honest.
Yeah, this is... I'm not even sure if we're past the watershed. I don't know if we can broadcast this kind of battering on Twitch, before 8 o'clock, so... we might have to talk to some of the admins here and see if this is legal, but... okay, so it looks like I've just gotten confirmation that we are going to be restarting the match. So we will just pop it to quick holding screen while we leave and get this one reset. Apparently, I believe it has come down to admin ruling in the end. So I'm not sure if that current scoreline will stand. I'd imagine we'll get reset to 0-0 as the connection problems were... apparent from the very, very start. Pad just wasn't there for the kickoff, so I'd imagine we're just going to restart and get everything up and over again.
Yep.
And to be fair, Alex, there's not much analysis, there's not much breakdown we can do with that one. It's
just a little bit unfortunate. Even the one goal that was scored by Padzer was kind of a bit of a soft one as well. So hopefully when we get back into this, it hasn't kind of disrupted the flow of these teams too much, because we were getting some really great Rocket League from both sides, and games 3 and 4 were really heating up, so we'll just hope that neither team kind of is too thrown off their rhythm by what's going on here.
Indeed. So I've just a quick update for everybody watching at home. I've just let the admins know, and they're gone to tell the players that the lobby is up with the same info as before, so they should be able to connect back in and get underway in just a moment. Again, for anybody tuning in, the current scoreline is 2-2. Padzer went up and found the very first game to go 1-0 up in the series, but then Storybot had a big resurgence, came back in game 2 with, I believe it was 8-0. I think they won, was the final score. Padzer then, of course, did respond with a wonderful comeback in overtime to come back from 3-1 to win in overtime 4-3, whereas Storybud then took the previous game and evened it up to 2-2 again. We're going into game number 5 of this best of 7 series. There's at least 2 more matches in it before we crown our 2v2 tier 1 grand final. So I believe we're just waiting on another admin decision, but we should be back in the action in just a few minutes, ladies and gents. Thanks for bearing with us.
Yeah, so it looks like we will in fact be restarting game 5 at 0-0. So anything you just saw, just forget about it. Didn't happen. It's not important. We will be getting back into this in a brief moment. And as you say, it's been a very back and forth series so far. Game 1 was a bit of a wash for Padzer. Game 2, Storybud absolutely ran over Padzer in a complete reversal of what happened. And since then, we've had some very close games. So hoping that the rest of the series delivers as well as those games 3 and 4 had. And as I was talking about earlier, I think Storybud have kind of been the team showing slightly better Rocket League a lot of the time. They kind of just let game 3 slip away from them by getting a little bit overzealous in their pursuit of demos. But I think they should be able to kind of close out this series if they clean up their play a little bit.
Yeah, they have had that slight edge over Padzer in a lot of these games, and obviously they did have that 8-0 wipeout where Padzer just couldn't get off the ground. But in terms of the scoreline being 2-2, it has been slightly in favour of Story, but for the most part. But again, Padzer started out really, really well, and Storybud did take a little bit of time to get rolling in this series, and we can't quite count them out yet, but I think they do need to match that aggression, not only in demos, but also just in getting the ball out of their own half and trying to maintain it down in the blue end of the pitch. I think that's going to be crucial for them. A lot of these games, they've gone down a goal or two early on, and they've made it quite difficult for themselves to get back into it, and they always seem to be... on the underhand, Storybud just always seem to have that little bit of extra goal, or always fighting for a comeback.
Absolutely, as you say, Padzer haven't been making it easy for themselves. They've kind of been fighting from behind for the majority of game 3 and game 4, and it's it's a tough place to be. You know, I mean, they were doing a good job of it. You know, they weren't giving up. They got that comeback win in game number 3. But it's difficult to be constantly the team that's on the back foot, to be the team that is, you know, looking to make the comeback happen, because it's a very uncertain place to be in any game, you know.
Of course. And with that said, we're back underway for the start of the actual Game 5. Nobody saw anything previously, and just like the last game, the first goal is going to go in. Mug is going to tap that one in 5 seconds in.
Yeah, I don't think Pad being AFK was doing much for the side of Padzer, to be honest with you, based on what just happened there. That's another quick goal, and we were just talking about how it's very difficult to be the team that's constantly playing from behind, and early kickoff goals like that one, you know, being behind that little bit is not the place you want to be. We'll have to see if Padzer can get back into the pace of this one and try and actually stop themselves from falling behind too much, because I don't know if they can keep making these comebacks happen.
Yeah, it just always looks that little bit less likely every time you've got to do it. They did a great job in game number 2, in game number 3 even, to make that 3-1
comeback in game number 2.
No, definitely not. Yeah, definitely not. Game number 3 comeback was fantastic, and then they found a very quick goal in overtime, but they haven't seemed to be able to continue that pace. They haven't been able to keep up that form.
Oh, that's a big miss from Adzer there. Just looking... Pads are not really looking on the pace since this kind of restart has come through, and that's just, you need to be hitting those from Adzer. It was not a particularly difficult ball to hit. It was a little bit back over his head, but those are the bread and butter clears that you need to be able to make if you want to have a chance to actually, you know, get any goals yourself up at the other end.
It will, however, for now be a 2-0 lead for Storybud, and at this point we've seen them in the past just try and dictate the pace of the game, maintain that possession. We obviously don't have the statistics, but just from my own knowledge, it looks like they have had mostly possession, I should say, for the entirety of these games, especially when they have this lead. They don't tend to overextend and try and push it forward, but there's another very soft goal. I'm not sure what happened, if Adzer got a little bit bumped by Mug, or if he hadn't the boost to contest for that. But
it looked like he was kind of just caught up in his battle with Mug there, and you know, I mean, he had just about managed to get clear as another soft kickoff goal is going to go in. This is beginning to look a lot like the scoreline of the game that we just restarted.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately so. We might be looking at another 8-0 scoreline sooner rather than later. Pads are just looking a bit down and out. They don't look like they're performing at the same level we've seen them earlier on in the series, but they could potentially be giving such a good chance at this grand final away if they don't sort it out. I'm not sure what's going on, but they haven't been able to keep the ball out of their own half.
Yeah, they've just been looking a little bit weak on defence, you know. They've been letting the ball there. The clears haven't been there. The touches haven't been there when they need to be. Mug is going to fake that one, but Adzer's not going to get caught out by something like that. Yeah, they just the pace needs to be upped again from Padzer. You know, they've not been there. They've been letting the bumps get to them more than they had in the previous games as well, and just been finding themselves out of position as a result.
Rob is up for a big touch to send it down in front of net. A decent clearance from Pad, but can't quite get it out of harm's way as of yet. The ball will go down towards the midfield, and it's going to be collected by Rob. Great car control to keep that well and truly in his possession. No mid boost for him to collect. He might have potentially went back for an attack if it was there, but Adzer will get it up, and a poor touch from Adzer and leaves his teammate in a tough position. The counter attack is on, but Rob has the positioning to keep that out. 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock now, as Pads are still yet to find a goal in this one. The bump also not going to allow him to carry that downfield. It's going to get punted into the orange half. Mug also there trying to set up his teammate, but Rob has gone all the way back. This is a chance for Pads there, but oh dear, the pace of the play is just too fast, and that's a 5th goal.
Yeah, you could feel that one coming a little bit, about a few seconds in advance. Pad knew that the bump was coming, and unfortunately just didn't communicate it well enough to Adzer, because Adzer was there looking for a flick forward from Pad, but Pad was just looking to try and get the ball away from himself because of the demo. So another good offensive kind of demo play by the side of Storybud, and they're kind of just running away with this game off the back of disrupting Padzer in this game.
Yeah, and you see the big problem here is, Alex, whoever wins this is going to be on grand final point. They're going to have one chance to put this away before they go to that dreaded Game 7 on Champions Field. And honestly, I would not like to be in the shoes of Padzer, given their performance here, if they do go down and are facing, you know, that second place game.
It's one thing, you know, to be down in a game, as Rob should probably put that one away, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Pad appears to have stopped moving again, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be playing from behind in a single game, but as you say, playing from behind in a tournament when you're playing for your tournament life is a whole different ball game, and it's a whole different level of stress in the games.
And looks like Pad has lost connection again, this time much later on into the match. And obviously, Storybud are not giving them anything to play with, as Rob is just going to walk it down the field and tap that one in 6-0. And poor Adzer left on his lonesome yet again. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about this. Okay, right. He's just going to have a bit of a spin.
Rob's going to demo a few little, techniques for us. Get a nice wave dash across the pitch, just in case.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, that this game is going to go the way of Storybud yet again. At that point, I don't think it would be reasonable to call for another restart, given, we'd seen 3/4 of the match before Pad had his connection issues again. It seems to be quite a common occurrence these days. Everybody working from home, everybody at home, just so many people using the internet. Even my own, we had that Virgin Media outage there just a couple of days ago across the whole country. So definitely a lot of people are feeling the effects of that. But
it's a tough one. And it's very frustrating as well. When you're playing, and it was a great series up until that point. And kind of losing your rhythm because of connection issues, it's disheartening, and it makes it very hard even when you do finally, if you do manage to get them fixed and get back into the game, it's very hard to recover from them and actually just play to the level that you were playing at before they happened as well.
Yeah, it is a definite shame, and it's one of those things that is just out of your control totally. It's a different story if your own mentality is not there or you're not performing on the day, but when you're having a good game and you're potentially looking at a comeback. Yeah. And let's not forget, they are evened up. This is a 2-2 series so far, but it is most likely going to go 3-2 in favour of Storybud with 20 seconds left. I think the lads are just willing to run down the clock. We might have to take a quick break to see if we can get Pad back in for what could be our final game, but I will keep you guys up to date for anybody watching at home as well. 5 seconds left. This is going to be Storybud's third game, and now they are on series and grand final point. Not much analysis we can do about that one, Alex.
Yeah. To be fair, Storybud looked very strong at the start of that game, even when Pad and Adzer were both there. They were kind of running away with it anyway. So if we do get Pad back and that continues, I think, Storybud are looking very good to take down this grand final. But, we've seen changes in this series already, like, massive momentum shifts between game 1 and 2. But I think even if we get Pad back, I think we're probably favouring Storybud to actually take this one down in game number 6.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to agree with you for now anyway, unless there's a big change here. You never know, stranger things have happened. We could be looking at a Pad who rejoins with, a fire in his belly saying that he's not going to go quietly into the night, you know what I mean? But at the same time, they haven't really shown the results so far. We're just asking Adzer currently to make sure everything is all right. It looks like Pad has reconnected, so he should be joining in on his team, and we'll be getting into what could be our last game in this grand finals. Oh, and apparently the server has gone down for maintenance. You love to see that.
You love to see it. It's not just connection issues on our end. It's connection issues on the end of Psionics as well.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Okay, so again, apologies to everybody at home. We will get the lobby remade in just a moment, so we should be back in for, again, as we've said, it could be our last map, our last match even, my Counter-Strike talk coming out, of the night. So again, this is 3-2 in favour of Storybud, one game away from a potential grand final victory, and Padzer, they have to prove that they deserve to be in this grand final now. They've had some connection issues. They got to put that game behind them. And they've already put a game behind them. They had an 8-0 loss. They really need to prove that they deserve to be in this one.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, connection issues aside, there was one easy fix for Padzer that they could have followed earlier in this series. And I mean, if they just won 4-0, this would have all been done before game 5. So, this is kind of on them as well for not just blowing out the other team.
Indeed, Mog and Rob have reconnected. Adzer's in. Again, we're just waiting for... the last Okay, we've actually gotten an update from our admin. Let me just see. Okay, and unfortunately, we might even have some rather disheartening news, as one of our admins has just informed us that it looks like Pad is not going to be able to reconnect. He's still having connection trouble, and I believe Adzer has said that he's happy to play out the remainder of this as a 1v2. So I believe he's just going to be playing on his own, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I think given the circumstances,
yeah,
I think we're going to continue on 3-2 to Storybud, and players are going to play it out in a 2v1, which is a little bit disheartening, but unfortunately nothing we can really do about it at the moment, given the connection trouble.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, a little bit disheartening. It had all the makings of a series that could have gone all the way and really given us an entertaining last couple of games, but that happens sometimes. In sports, sometimes the weather blows you out. In esports, sometimes the internet blows you out. And there's not a huge amount you can do about it.
Yeah, I'm just going to confirm with the players that are in the lobby as well to make sure everyone is on the same page.
Ooh, Pad's here.
Oh, and Pad has actually gotten himself back in. We might potentially see another disconnect, but for now, we're going to be underway. This could be our very last game, and honestly, Alex, I hope it's a good one.
I'm absolutely hoping that it's a good one as well. I think if nothing else, Mug and Rob will want to show that they deserve to win this, even despite their opponents having connection issues. So probably look for them to play out a pretty good game of Rocket League. And Pads are, as you say, looking to prove that they deserve to be here as well, and that it's really only the connection issues that have been holding them back in that last game.
Yeah, of course. And we've been talking a lot about Padzer, given the connection problems and their comeback that they've made, also losing to a quite a considerable deficit. But on the other side of things, Storybud have been playing a great game of Rocket League today throughout this entire series. They have really been in the driver's seat for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. As they seize hold of that driver's seat here in the opening of game number 6. Looks like Pad is having issues again, so a little bit unfortunate there, but as you say, they were playing great Rocket League up until that point, apart from kind of the blowout in game number 1 where they looked like they really weren't on the pace of the series at all. It was a great save from Pat. They've looked really strong.
I'm not quite sure. I'm not really sure what's going on, but yeah, it was a great save from Pat, whether it was intentional or not. He has disconnected. I believe Adzer might be potentially forfeiting the last match. I will wait for admin confirmation just to let us know what's going on, but there's been some GGs, as you guys watching at home can see, and this is obviously not entertaining for anyone to play, whether you're on the side of Storybud or you're on the side of Padzer. No one wants to win a game in a 1v2, so we might have some mercy rules come out, and it looks like they have been forfeited. So I think, Alex, that's it. I think unfortunate circumstances, but Storybud will be your grand final winners. Pads are obviously not able to field 2 men for the last potential game or 2, so I think Adzer has gone ahead and confirmed that they are going to forfeit this one.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. I think, well played Storybud anyway. They were having a great series up until that point, and I think they were only getting stronger. As I said, I was kind of favouring them to take it down anyway. It's just a little bit unfortunate that Padzer were kind of denied the opportunity to try and prove me wrong and actually give us a couple of entertaining last games. But well played by the Storybud. They had a great series. They played some great Rocket League, and obviously, their opponents throughout the rest of this tournament didn't all have connection issues. So they definitely deserve to be here, and they deserve this tournament win.
Yes, no, I totally agree. But with that said, that is going to be all from myself and NuaLaoch for this evening. Thank you very much to everybody for tuning in, and we will be back with more RLI before you know it, and hopefully with less connection issues then. So from both myself and Alex on the caster desk here today, I'll catch you all later, and cheers for tuning in, lads.